Look, just remind us why we're actually changing a system that potentially works already.
The simple answer is the European Super League. A couple of years ago, there was a threat of a new breakaway Super League. A lot of the big clubs wanted to join the breakaway. So they put pressure on UEFA to change the Champions League because they're not happy with it as it is at the moment, especially the group stage, because there are quite a lot of games where there's not a lot riding on them, where you know, for instance, that the top sides are going to get through the group stage pretty easily. And also, there's pressure on UEFA because clubs want to play more games because they want to make more money, even though you hear a lot of managers and players.
Don't.
Yeah, you hear managers and players saying we don't want to play more games. The people who own the clubs certainly do want to be playing more games and making more money. So that is the background to why we've had these changes. For what it's worth, I think the new format is an improvement on what we have at the moment. I think it will be more interesting. It will have better, more competitive games. But I think it's going to take a lot of getting your head round because it is complicated having one league of 36 teams. I mean, the league is so big that you can't fit it on one TV screen. You know, we're going to have to show the top and then the bottom. But I think if you invest a little bit of time into getting your head around it, you'll understand it, especially once the competition actually starts. And then I think it could be a winner for UEFA.
Could be a winner, for UEFA. So are the clubs happy? I mean, the owners potentially happy, but would the fans be happy? They've got to travel more. Is it 8 group games rather than 6? Is this good news for fans or bad news?
Sorry, I think the clubs are happier than they are at the moment because they will have more games. In total, in the whole Champions League, there's going to be an extra 64 games. So we're going to go from a total of 125 games to 189 games. But each club is guaranteed to play 8 games. At the moment, that's 6. So the clubs, I think, will be happy because they've got 2 extra games. And the way the format works in the league phase is that you will play 8 games against different opponents. At the moment, you're playing home and away in the group stage against the same team. That's not going to happen. So you'll have a variety. And also, the league phase will be seeded into 4 pots. And you're guaranteed to play against 2 teams in each pot. So you'll play 2 games against the best 8 teams, 2 games against the next best 8, 2 games against the next best 8, and 2 games against the 8 weakest teams. So you get more variety of competition and you'll get better games between the big sides as well in the initial league phase. And then finally, once the league phase is done, you get the excitement of the knockout phase, which we're used to, which is going to stay the same, home and away, and then a 1-game final.
Does that mean that this is all going to start in April? When do we start? You know,
no, it starts in September.
No, I mean, I was being a bit facetious there, but in terms of, you know, it's all the same sort of starting times in terms of Champions League, then it's not going to have to come forward even earlier.
No, I think it starts in September. I mean, there are more games overall, but
they're squeezed.
They're squeezed in, and clubs are playing 2 extra games. I think there was originally a plan for clubs to play 10 games, but people at UEFA thought that was too much, that was excessive, so they've cut it back to 8 games.
How important is this for UEFA, for this to work, this new system?
I think it is really important. I would go so far as to say I think this could be the last throw of the dice for UEFA when it comes to the format of the Champions League. Because don't forget that in the background, we still have the European Super League, the company behind that, A22. They're not going away. They were all in London last week at the Financial Times Football Business Summit. They are steaming right ahead with their plans to set up a rival Super League. So there is a lot riding on this. This has to work for UEFA because we're seeing a lot of new owners coming into European football, and these owners want to be playing bigger games against the bigger clubs. They want growth. They want to make more money. They want football to develop. And if they don't get that from UEFA, I think they will look elsewhere. And that could be to the people behind the so-called Super League.